Hola, ¿cómo está? It's Katie, and I'm here to talk to you about making the jump from Canada to Costa Rica. This lovely place here is our new home for a few months or maybe a year. We signed a year lease contract, and it's a beautiful one-bedroom apartment on this 3.5 acre jungle compound. Not compound, that sounds so prison-like. We're not in Canada. um, and it's just beautiful. The landlords are lovely, gracious, kind. Um, it includes, of course, the pool here. There's a great barbecue area. We haven't used it yet, though. Um, we're just enjoying, and we actually found a house that's just amazing. And we thought we really liked this area, but we just had this house kind of fall into our lap. We were only talking to the realtor about neighborhoods. We wanted to drive by some houses, and she was like, no, those are shit. And then she sent us this one listing. Oh my God. And so we've gone to see it, and I don't want to talk too much about it right now because, it's kind of that energy, it's baking in the oven. But it's just incredible. It's incredible, and I'll talk more about that later. What I want to do right now is begin sort of a series of our journey of making the jump from Canada to Costa Rica. I want to tell you all about why we chose Costa Rica and the process of selling our home and everything we own. It was really stressful at times, and we got cranky at times, but we just kept our eye on the prize, knowing the life that's down here waiting, and we did it. It's just been incredible, and we made it here. It's been 2 weeks today, so 2 weeks ago on the Saturday, we flew in, and when we got to our Airbnb, we'd stayed there last year. This lovely Costa Rica lady near the airport named Margarita's guest house. The vehicle that we bought through Trinity Motors, which was vetted because we hired an amazing relocation expert, Sarah Elenas, to help us. And it's hot, sorry, I'm wiggly. And yeah, they actually met us at the Airbnb the next day with the Suzuki Jimny that we bought. And we loaded her up and came here. So it's been really exciting. So today, before I get into it, I just want to say today was kind of cool because San Jose is the capital and it's big. And we went there to Santa Ana, which is this beautiful suburb. And we've heard how beautiful it is. But it was cool because it's quite Americanized. And Jeff was laughing because I have this old shitty gel polish on my toes, and I wanted to get it off and get my toes done. And then that's it. Like, we're on a really strict budget, so I've got to look after my own beauty things. My treat will be getting my roots covered up, and my hair's, kind of dry, so maybe I'll go back to brunette one day. But anyway, I got this nail polish. And Jeff was like, ew. He's like, it looks like guacamole. Holy guacamole. I got some on my toes too, but I won't lift my feet up right now. So anyways, it was great because there's a bookstore, there was a cool bakery where we got like some good bread. Finding really good bread is hard here. A lot of the places you go to, just, in a tennis, we're in the Central Valley and in Rio Grande. And whether we're in Rio Grande or tennis, like, the grocery stores are great, and some of the produce is just beautiful, and the farm market. But it's hard to find good bread. We did at the farm market, but we didn't realize it had raisins in it. So today we bought a nice new loaf of sourdough, yay! And cheese too. Cheese is funny. It's like they took the fat out of it or something. It's hard to get your hands on some good cheese. And unfortunately, we did not find the cheese today. We were going to, and we kind of got distracted. Jeff wanted to look for like a console that drops into the Suzuki Jimny, and then we forgot about the cheese. So all good, we're back. I just thought I'd come out here by the pool and let's get started because I got a lot to talk about. I think it's going to take me a couple of videos to do this. I got my notes, and that way if any bugs come near me, I can swat them away. I can keep cool if I'm hot. Woo, it's kind of warm. This place where we looked at a house yesterday is way up the hill, like 7 minutes up from the town of Atenas, and the breezes were just amazing, and the views, like all these different directions. And that's all I'll say. I don't want to talk about the price or anything yet until this is in the oven, until we got the offer in and hopefully accepted, God willing. God has been all through our journey. Oh man, I'm gonna talk about that, okay? So why did we choose Costa Rica? Well, let's take a walk back to the COOF, 2022, when the trucker convoy gave us all hope and to be so proud to be Canadian, and then we watched them get shit kicked. And then we started watching, the bank accounts be frozen. I wanted to go then. I was looking into Costa Rica, and they had just gotten in a new president. And the old president was a lefty. And he had put in a law that the children had to have that thing. And you can't find this. I found this like in a blog. You can find a lot of great information that's not, mainstream media, of course. And the Costa Ricans had spread out and blocked all the checkpoints in the country in protest. They don't talk about politics here, but they watch them. And they literally crushed a party years ago. There's a party that just doesn't exist anymore because it took Costa Rica, it was taking away from putting the money into Costa Rica to these outside entities. And Costa Ricans were like, no, screw that. So that's cool. So then with this new Chavez president got in, he withdrew them from Agenda 2030. So you can Google and look that up. And what's funny is the mainstream media never covered that. The Tico Times published that in last year in 2025. And it's funny because, it was like the pearl clutching, like, it's gonna happen. And Costa Rica is like so big on sustainability and the environment and eco and green, and oh my goodness, what's gonna happen to them now? But see, they can't do much because Costa Rica is like the leading country in the world. And that not by curtailing anyone's freedoms, right? It's so free here. Even like the lack of bureaucracy, but there can be some rules, but they don't enforce them. And you just learn all this. There's so much to learn that I'll tell you, like, we hired a relocation expert, Sarah Elenas. Google her. She's on YouTube, has her own website, Sarah, and then Elenas, Elanas. There's the E, oops, can't remember it out of my head. And I would not be doing this without her. It was actually Jeff that found her. He said, hey, you should watch this YouTube video. Before I get into that, I'm gonna back up again and tell you, 2022, 2023, like by the time I'd looked into Costa Rica and seen like how they've remained sovereign, because them and Nicaragua, they don't have oil. They don't have minerals. So there's not like been a compelling reason at this point for the elites to really push and get their way in. The McKinsey group's down here, and you see bits of Americanized things. Like we were just in Santa Ana, and there's KFC and Starbucks, and you don't see that too much though in the little towns, but some of them you do. But the thing is that there was an interview last year where the president said, we are peacefully resisting the elites. And he just went on about them, just saying these greedy corporate rotters that want to come into this country. And so they're saying no. And you can look for yourself and see like the smearing that went on with him, trying to get him out early. And some of the electoral college, I think, has been a bit, poisoned. But they have like a whole bunch of different corruption laws. But it doesn't mean it's perfect. Like there's still been some issues, but compared to Canada and many other countries in Western civilization, they've done a great job of remaining sovereign. And again, the Costa Ricans don't talk about it, but they watch them and they crush their parties. They have a lot of influence here. So it must have been around, as we kind of rolled into 2024, towards 2025, you all know who won the federal election. And after 10 years of that, Jeff finally looked at me and went, do you want to go to Costa Rica? And I went, fuck yeah, let's go. And that was it. Like we put the house on the market and we came down here. So I'll tell you, Jeff had said to me, hey, I've been watching these YouTube videos with Sarah Elena. You should check her out. She was covering all of the different locations in Costa Rica and not sugarcoating anything. I'm telling you, like, if you love the beach, you have your choices of Guanacaste, The Pacific, like Hako Beach, kind of black sand. If you want the white sandier beaches, you go down south to Dominical and Uvita, and it's a lot more remote down there, but it's also touristy, can be expensive, there can be some water shortages, mosquitoes, humidity. We're gonna Costa at the northern, like up at the peninsula past Punta Arenas, is very dry, and even in the rainy season, it's still pretty dry. Rainy season is typically like how we are here now, like May to November, and then you get your dry season in December through April. But over on the Caribbean coast, that's another area, but there tends to be not as many expats that go there. I think some of the reasons are it's 3 or 4 hours away from San Jose Airport. There are some cartel issues over in Limon, and it's neat, like it's Costa Rican, but it also has kind of a Jamaican flavor to it, so that's cool. But it's just got a different vibe, and there can be a little more crime. But you know, there can also be crime on the Pacific coast side, anywhere that you're where you are touristy. And up in Guanacaste, Tamarindino is a really popular place for Canadians. A lot of Alberta people have gone there, and they're opening businesses. But we didn't, you know, Jeff doesn't like the hot heat. And I've always been a beach girl, but I'm even finding as I get older, I don't enjoy the intense heat either. We found that in Mexico in 2023 when we were down in Del Cabo. It was like, oh, you know, could we live like this? It's really dry, like it feels draining. So when we came down here last year, we stayed in a tennis because doing our homework, there's not too many places in Costa Rica where you can get the breezes but be close to the beach. If you go down to the South Pacific, there are, but then it's quite remote again, and just, you know, harder to kind of meet people, and then, you know, Jeff likes tooling around with his car and car parts and things, and then you have a long distance to, you know, at least half an hour to get into San Isidro, Perez Zeldon, or, you know, then you're traveling a lot, burning gas, like to go into Uvita or up to Hako. So when we did the scouting tour with Sarah, she helped us plan and helped us like choose the vetted Airbnbs, and we stayed with a really great lady named Vera. So if you're looking for a nice place to stay in a tennis, Vera, you find her on Airbnb, and she's in Vista at tennis, and it was way up the hill and had the breeze and patio, and it was really nice. Didn't find the bed too comfy though. And so then coming down here, we rented this place. I found this on the Coldwell Banker Realty site. And this one realtor last year had taken us to see a duplex in Rocco Verde, or near Rocco Verde. And she was really great. So I had hoped that maybe she'd help us rent this, but she said it was a bit too early. And then by that time, Sarah had said she really liked to use Gabrielle Simon from Coldwell Banker Realty, that she's vetted and they've been using her. So we went with her, and yeah, we got the contract signed for $750 US a month, including everything, including housekeeping. Like once a week they change our linens, the towels, they clean the place, dust, mop. It's awesome. Jeff and I have a little system going right now where he cooks and he drives, and I do all the cleaning and I do the laundry. And even if he makes a snack, I'm just, leave it for me, I'll clean it, honey. So we're having a blast. It's just the two of us. It's like a, you know, a honeymoon again. It's great to have my husband all to myself, but space is important. So, you know, I come and hang out by the pool and read my book, and, you know, he likes to have his time just watching things on the laptop. And then, you know, we go for big walks together. We're enjoying just the culture, shopping, learning Spanish. So far we haven't actually done like Spanish lessons, but we watched something on Sarah's, like we're doing like a course. So it's, I think we're only like 30% through, and it's really long because it's covering everything. And those are some of the things I want to get into. But you gotta understand, I'm not an expert. I want to inspire you and share our story. You need to get an expert like Sarah to help you. And what Sarah does is everything's vetted, and she has a team, and she's quite young. She's only in her mid-30s, and she's a single mom with a beautiful girl. That's how she got her residency. If you have a child down here, you have automatic residency. And she just started doing like what I'm doing, just YouTube videos telling people about her journey. And she was getting so many inquiries that she decided, you know, to start her own relocation business helping people through the steps. And the website and the process that she developed is just fantastic, perfecto. So, you know, that's everything from your rentals to your real estate to buying a car. We use Trinity Motors. We're actually having some trouble with the car right now. It runs, but it's just making weird noises, and Jeff's not happy because it's really expensive to get a car down here, but it's even worse to bring your own. Because if you don't have electric or it's less than 5 years of age, then you're going to get taxed up to 80% for taxes and have to pay for the cost of shipping. So to bring like our old Jeep Liberty, you know, our little diesel putt would have been about $20,000, probably like 25,000 Canadian. So for that matter, we bought a Suzuki Jimny with about 40,000 clicks. And actually, they went to Panama and grabbed it for us, put a roof rack on and some of the trim, and that came to about 38,000 Canadian. But car rentals are in demand down here. So once we're sort of settled, we're looking at renting that out, you know, 1 or 2 weeks a month, because that can, they'll rent for $400 or $500 a week. So if we're renting it out for $350, you know, by the time we've paid for the extra bit of insurance, you know, we're gonna make like an extra $600 a month US. And that really helps, because in the journey that I wanna share with you, like, we're not wealthy. I'm not gonna get into real specifics about money, but after selling our house, we put everything with our Sun Life investor, Mark Noble. He's in Williams Lake. He's awake. He's awesome to deal with. And so he's got it all kind of like put away right now, but we can access it in 2 days if we need. And once we buy our home, then there's a bit left over. And we sold everything we own. We sold all our cars except for the Jeep. We left the Jeep in Nanaimo at Jeff's mom's. So when we go visit, we have a little, you know, something to drive. And it's not that valuable, so we can hang on to one car. We bought a Sea-Can, and we're keeping that at Steve and Lisa's, Jeff's brother, and my sister-in-law, Lisa. Hi! So, you know, they got a big property in Quesnel, up north, so we're keeping that there. And we've just got some tubs of, you know, photo albums and some kitchen things like cast iron, frying pans. That's all we will bring. For right now, we came down here with just like our clothes, a couple suitcases full of clothes, and toiletries. We bought like 4 bins because Jeff wanted to bring his tools so he can work on his own car. I think we had 12 pieces of luggage, and it was over $1,000. We flew Air Canada, direct flight, which is nice. Then you don't have to stop in the States. And we stopped in the States last year. It was brutal. Like Costa Rica, Mexico City, the airports are like perfecto, just beautiful. And then you get to America, and it's just like fucking dirty. They're rude, yelling at everybody, and it's just so stressful. Like, so yeah, that's another thing too, is you learn quickly, like, don't be doing all these crazy flights with 3 stops. Just go direct. It's so worth it. So anyway, okay, back to how did we choose Costa Rica? Well, we know that there's no guarantees, but we figured, hey, if we're gonna own nothing and be happy, we might as well be warm. So we chose Costa Rica because of the attitudes, because of the government. I was talking about the President Chavez, and his party is so popular right now that he handpicked Laura Fernandez from his party, and 20 other people from the party are still in the party, and she was elected with 48.5% of the vote. That's amazing. And so it feels good to know that, you know, for the next 4 years there's some sanity. There's been more cartel presence along the coast, like in the touristy areas, so they're cracking down on that. They don't have a military here. If you Google, Costa Rica's been sovereign since 1948. Rather than invest in a military, they invested into infrastructure, like their highways, their healthcare system, and their education. People are very educated here. When you get into more of the big cities or the tourist areas, you will find more English speaking, but Jeff and I really want to learn Spanish. It's beautiful to assimilate, to come here and get to know people. And you know, you don't want to miss out on the nuances of jokes and things, right? Like, it's really neat. And why not? Hey, we're retired now, so we've got time. Something that's, what was I gonna say, reflecting on that. Coming from Canada, it's really helped us have an appreciation about the word gentrification. Sorry, something, a bug was landing on my leg. It was just a butterfly. Yay. Gentrification is what there's, some people aren't happy about all of the people moving here because it's drives up their real estate prices. But that also helps, right? Not everyone dislikes it because there's a lot of gringos and ticos working together. Just like when we stay at Margarita's, she's renting out all these rooms because it's close to the airport. She'll store your car. She's got like this driveway and just big gate and keeps your cars protected, and you pay like, a third or a quarter less than you would at the airport. So our respect about gentrification comes from what we're seeing in Canada. Down here, there's no free handouts. You are on your own. You cannot work. You cannot be employed down here until you have your permanent residency. And even then, they're going to hire a Costa Rican. They're not going to hire a gringo. And that's the way it should be. Up in Canada, we're watching, we've always been multicultural and I think very, very gracious towards newcomers and them coming into the country, and they can have their culture. We don't force nothing. But now things have really changed. If you're not living under a rock and you're not indoctrinated or feeling ashamed of speaking the truth, that there's such an influx of mass immigration into Canada, and there's hardly any jobs now for our youth. And the news finally just came out, the mainstream media, and admitted that because people are pissed. Like our kid's in 6-year university in Toronto, and she works in a bakery at minimum wage with a bit of tips. She's trying, to audition, but she doesn't have the, I won't get into that, but it's not been easy, and she's phenomenally talented, but she's making some good connections, so good things will happen for her. Yay. We just talked to her about having faith and, get ready to throw away her job if something good comes. Just trust and let that evolve. But backing up about the gentrification, so we come down here and we want to be aware of just a nice balance where, we're not going to move into a neighborhood full of gringos and buy a little house that's really small and inexpensive and humble, because that is taking away. Instead, we found Tennis has a great mix of Costa Ricans and expats. It actually first attracted a lot of Europeans, like people from Germany and France, and just kind of kept evolving from there. And I think more people our age, like 50s and 60s. I'm still in my 50s till December, and then I get my CPP, yay! And that's really going to help with living down here because we don't have an income and we can't work. I mean, some people have side hustles, but you have to watch that because you don't want immigration knocking at your door. And we don't want to do anything, to be disrespectful. We're just so happy to be here. I'm going to talk more about that probably in the next video because we're moving on to 24 minutes. So I'll start wrapping it up now. And I'm going to call this number 1 of I don't know how many videos, but I've got a bunch of notes of why we came here. So we came here because the beautiful weather, it's gorgeous. It can be affordable if, and I mean if, you leave behind your Western civilization standards. You cannot live like you did in Canada or the US. You don't need like 3 cars and a boat, and you're gonna live in a small house, 1 car, go to the market, buy your potatoes from the tico on the side of the road, selling potatoes, or eggs from, the woman up the street. You also, like, if you go into the city, if you need like furniture or something, you might make a trek into a bigger area because buying in a smaller town is obviously going to be not affordable. If you can find something that has a casita to rent, that's really great because that's going to help you sustain yourself without having to dip into your savings. Who knows what's going to happen with our old age pension? Like, we're 6 years away from that, so our plan right now is to just live simply, have a bit of income coming in, of rental income. I'll tell you about that in my next video because I'll have more information on the real estate venture we're looking into. And also I have a pension and it's really small, like $540 Canadian, and then my CPP will be 6 something Canadian, but still that translates to $750, hi, voila, to about 800 American. So awesome, right? Like there's money coming in. And if we don't have rent to pay, if there's no mortgage, your bills are really small. So like a single family dwelling, your electrical might be $50 a month. Your water might be $5 a month, $20 a month, maybe 80. It's kind of fluctuates there. Internet about 50 or 60. Cell phone, oh, don't even get me started on TELUS. They have been so frustrating. We want to get Starlink. Just, we're so tired of being told what we want to hear and then getting a great big bill and, oh well, you know, too bad, so sad. So we're gonna dump TELUS soon and get on Starlink. We've got some good packages. I know that's Elon, they're all in on it together, but for now, this is what we're gonna do. So yeah, I just said hi to my landlord's daughter. She is lovely. He has 2 daughters and a son. The landlord actually, like, he's an architect, and him and his son like built this whole thing. Like the places, if you've seen my earlier videos, they have a couple clusters of apartments and then their own home on the property, and the pool and the barbecue area and the laundry, and there's a restaurant right at the front of the property, and it's called Selvatica, and it's just amazing. And I think I was saying in my last video that my chicken Caesar salad, homemade croutons, like everything homemade, was about 15 Canadian, and I shared it with Jeff that night for dinner and had the rest for lunch the next day. Like the portions were huge, and so that's very cool. But we can't keep eating out all the time. But if we are able to buy a house quicker, then we don't have to pay rent, and that will alleviate, you know, a little bit of extra money just to have some fun, because we want to see, you know, we want to go up to Guanacaste and down to the South Pacific and over to the Caribbean. There's some beautiful parts in the interior as well, like La Fortuna. There's the volcano. It's like they call it like the city in the jungle. Very touristy again, really hot. Apparently it's really hot there. But you go up above it, north, and then you're getting into Lake Arenal and Monteverde, and it can actually be chilly, like where you want to put on a hoodie because the elevation's now spiking. You know, we're right now quite at a low elevation in Rio Grande, so it's kind of hot and muggy. And it's the rainy season, and I actually find it kind of muggier after it rains. We've had some kick-ass thunderstorms. Check out my shorts. Not the ones I have on, I'm wearing a dress. But check out the YouTube shorts that I've been posting. And I'll tell you about that. YouTube has been absolutely frustrating with me. They keep taking away my thumbs up. So I post something and I got like ding, 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 like, oh, 6 thumbs up and, you know, 12 views, like, hey, this is off to a good start. And then I know people are enjoying the content. And then I look like 2 hours later and it's down to 4. I'm like, what the fuck? And then I look like an hour later, it's down to 3. To send them messages, they won't do anything. They did it to my shorts too, so I got wise and I turned the thumbs up, the likes and dislikes off. I can still see them, but you can't. But I'm doing that not out of hubris or pride. I'm doing it because they do this to screw with the algorithm, so that when people see your video, because I'll admit, if I see a video and it's got like 500 views and it only has like 4 thumbs up, I'm going to assume it's not very good. I'm probably less likely to watch that video because I'm assuming, well, it must be kind of crappy because there's not many likes. So to get around that, I just turned it off and went, I don't need likes. I'm not here for approval. I'm here to share my journey, our journey, and inspire people. Because my message box on Facebook, I only am on Facebook because of Marketplace, like, to sell everything we own. We had to use that a lot. I guess I haven't finished talking about that. Can you handle if I go on a few more minutes? You know, always like turn it off and watch a bit more later. So I just don't need the approval. It's that I really enjoy doing this. It's a hobby and it's fun. And I love that if people love this and enjoy watching it, it's just my gift to you. It's from my heart. I also, you know, haven't become a religious nut. I'm not religious, and I don't really, I'll go to church once in a while with my Bible study teacher when I was back home. But I just like going to Bible study. I put Jesus first, Jesus Christ. I was raised in a very godly family, but I became very, you know, more of the spirituality kind of, you know, New Age, Reiki and yoga and all that. And as I went through some things in my life around 2018, I went through kind of at my own doing. I brought a lot of pain onto myself, and it's private, so I'm not going to go into that, but it was like God crushed me, but it's like he led me into that path to show me I was on the wrong path. And I was working in the movies and stuff, and that was really fun, but I was losing me and becoming too worried about this shell stuff. And wow, God's grace and just my redemption, and to get back to God. And then as I started to trust and have this faith, like literally God has shown himself to me. Like I hear him. I don't mean like voices, just there's an all-knowing. Comes to people in different ways. For me too, like numerology, I don't believe in numerology, you gotta watch that. But I get bombed. I get so bombed with certain numbers or synchronicities, just where you have a series of coincidences that are so divine, you know it's not a coincidence. And it can be through animals, nature, you know, something you're watching on TV or a song. Or anyway, I'll talk more about that as I get later on into these videos. And I just want to now back up to, oh my God, selling the house. So we put the house on the market. I'll tell you one little God story in this because it's pretty profound. When we put the house on the market last May, we came down to Costa Rica, did our thing, came home, and we kind of did it backwards. Like our house really, when we bought the house, it was, oh God, the shop was full. 1650 square foot shop was just full of crap. The house was 3,400 square feet. We didn't need all that square footage, but it was the best of the worst at the time, and it was right on the lake up in Quesnel. So it was really, the yard was a mess. Like we cleaned it up so much that when we threw it on the market, in our head, we're thinking, hey, it's way better than it was when we bought it 4.5 years ago. But to the buyers, it was now a buyer's market, and it was so saturated with like buyers and people looky-loos that, you know, they were commenting like their house was too big, that it was too old, because none of it was updated. Like, we don't give a shit about all that stuff. And so we started really like cleaning it up. And funny, because I was just had given my notice to the store where I worked for 3.5 years, Bumblebee Boutique, great little consignment store in Quesnel that sells children's and women's clothes and fudge and candy. And I was tired of the retail though, and she also needed to replace me with someone because it's not a job she could just train in 2 weeks. So I just gave her the grace of, I'm gonna bow out so you can get someone in here. And I got hired on with the airport in Quesnel. Well, I was doing great as their front lead line person, you know, like, hi, do you have any liquids or gels, you know, any laptops in your bag? But when they sent me to Vancouver to do the course, the week-long course, it was actually two days. And then if you passed, you got to stay for a week. I failed by one question. And I had, not making excuses, but I wasn't feeling great. The trainer was sick the next day, so they had another trainer come in from the bomb squad in his big jumpsuit to train another girl to train us. And I failed by one freaking question, and nope, that was it. They put me on the plane of shame ride home, and that was it. I was fired. I didn't even know I was fired till I went in to say hi to my coworkers, and they're like, oh, did you bring your uniform? I'm like, no, why? And oh, like, didn't they tell you? You're fired. You have to try again in 6 months. Okay. So here's the cool part. God cleared my path. And I knew that. Like, I had a tear or two on the plane because it was embarrassing. Like, I was on the dean's list in university, and I failed this freaking course by one question. So when I got home, Jeff and I rented a sander, and I went nuts on it. And he didn't think I could handle the sander, right? He was like, oh, it's gonna be too hard, nah, nah, nah. And I was like, I have a strong core. Like, I've done yoga for years, so I just... And then we were painting, and then Michelle and Gord, our friends from the island, came to visit, and they jumped right in and started helping us. They were helping us paint. Jeff's, our neighbor Sam and his wife Natalie, they're amazing, and Sam helped Jeff rebuild the staircase all the way down to the lake that was rotting. We cleared the decks of all the furniture and sanded and painted them. I walked in our mudroom one day and went, fuck, this is ugly. Like, why have I let it look so ugly? So I yanked out this old shelf and bought some Robin's Egg blue paint and bought, you know, a big white cube shelf from Yisk, and Jeff set it up. God help him, 3 hours. And that was it. We finally had some interest, but then we had an offer and it fell through. And I'd just gotten to the island, and the ferry had been canceled, and I'd gone to Tawasin, and they wouldn't let me wait because there was no room, and they kept sending me to the mall, and oh God, like I got to my best friends at like 1:30 in the morning, and I woke up to a text from a realtor saying that the sale fell through. and I cried like a baby. And then, you know, we had a few more showings after that, and we took it off the market on Jeff's birthday, October 19th, because you don't really list your house in Quesnel with 10 feet of snow. So Christmas time, you know, we went home. I'm going to wrap up soon, so just hang in there. This is a very, very critical story about our journey here. I want you to hear this. So when we went to the island, we got back, and by now I was working at the Catholic school in Quesnel as an EA. And I'm not Catholic, but I was raised Catholic, but just, you know, just you don't have to be Catholic to work there, just a belief in Christ. And so when we went, when we got back, it was the Sunday and I had to work the next day. So I'm just like staring out the window and I'm looking at the snow. There was so much snow, and this one branch was just sagging with all the snow, and I was like, break, go ahead, break. And I was like, birds, right? Is that a bird? Oh, it's beautiful. I hope you caught that. It was just flying around in here. Oh, it's a butterfly. I need glasses. I had laser eye surgery, but anyways, so I'm looking out the window and I pray and I say, Lord, are we ever going to get to Costa Rica? If we're not, can you just break this branch and give me a better view and let a little more sunshine come onto my sun deck? I walked over to the couch at that very moment and I picked up my phone. And I swear to God that there was a text from our realtor, Scott Klassen. He's awesome. And he says, Happy New Year, Katie. We just got back from Mexico and someone wants to come and see your house. Do you want to have a showing? I know you're off the market. And I'm like, yeah, oh, please, great. So this cop came and looked, but he liked a different house. He ended up going with one across town at 10 Mile Lake. So it's like, oh, well, look at that. I cleaned and staged on my last day off before I had to go back to school. But oh well, practice. I guess, you know, pretty soon it'll be time to put it back on the market and get back in the swing of things. Well, a week later, Scott says, someone else wants to come see your house from the coast. I'm like, cool. So they came, fell in love with it. Our neighbors had like a skating rink that they built, the cop next door. And that was super like compelling to this guy. And they love the house. And they got a baby on the way. And it's gonna be a great family house. It's so big. So when Scott came over with the offer, he looks at me and says, Katie, you're gonna love this. And I said, what? And he's like, you are so lucky that that first offer fell through. And I'm like, really? How's that? And he said, just shortly after your subjects would have come off the house, the guy was in a car accident and in a coma, and he's just come out of it. If you would have been screwed, he said, because it would have been the day of possession and you would have been all ready to go. Your house would be empty, no furniture, it's all sold, plane tickets waiting to go to Costa Rica, but there's no money in the bank because the guy's in a coma and you can't relist because the contract is still in his name. Like, it actually would have been a nightmare, and that is where you know that rejection is God's protection. So I love that story. I hope that, you know, just again gave my realtor a few chills, and that's not the first time he saw some incredible synchronicities going on. And so that is that. So that is part of part one. I just wanted to share that with you, and I'll see you in a few days or maybe a week when I'm ready to hop on again and continue talking now about just embracing the whole Pura Vida culture, right? It's a whole lesson in not just being healthy, but your mind, right? Not being entitled, being friendly. That is the currency down here. Don't be an asshole. Don't come down here like bringing your Western civilization values or your ideology, because it's not welcome. And it's great. I love to see that. And there's no chemtrails either. So, okay, I'm gonna wrap it up now. Thanks so much for watching. I'm getting a lot of messages, and great to hear from you. I want you to do your homework though, okay? I'm just here to inspire you and encourage you and show you what we did. Your journey may look different. And my next video, I'll talk about like the different ways. Like, I was gonna say 4 ways, but there's a couple other ways as well to get in and get your temporary, then your permanent residency here. So until then, adios amigo and Pura Vida. Please subscribe. Don't worry about liking. You can if you want, but I'm hiding them. Comment, leave me a comment. I love to respond and say hi back, and share this with other people. Okay, thank you.